Glory to Jesus Christ. An old proverb tells us, don't believe anything you see and don't believe anything you hear and only half of what you see. Nowadays, with digital graphics, we have to even go a little further. Some may say this is cynical approach to life, not believing. Others would say that it is only good sense to do your research before you make judgments. Don't judge on surface value. What should we believe? What can we believe? What can we base our life on? We need to ask that question as individuals. What do I base my life on? We need to ask that as a church. What is my parish based on? What are we as an eparchy to be based on? What are we to believe? What can we believe? What should we question and doubt? Carrie Landry wrote a song years ago based on a poem of sorts that was written in a concentration camp in Nazi Germany. The song goes, I believe in the sun even when it isn't shining. I believe in love even when there's no one there. And I believe in God even when He is silent. Takes a little faith to believe in the sun today. But it's there. It's shining. We've had enough experience of the sun to know that, even if we can't see it. To believe in love, even when no one is present. No way to prove it or disprove it, but isn't it better to take the risk, the chance? To believe in God, no real way to prove or disprove that. But those of us who do believe realize that it is so much better to take the risk, to take the chance. Many of us have difficulty believing because of what we know or believe we know. In the gospel story today, the invited people knew that they had responsibilities. One had land, another just got 10 oxen, another had just married. How could they believe, or why should they believe in this banquet? How could they believe in being worthy of this banquet? Could it be possible that when they got there, they would realize that it was just a joke, that they weren't worthy, that they would be turned away? Perhaps it's better to stay with what you know. How could they possibly be worthy of such a magnificent table? Most of us look at ourselves as these three and see themselves as landowners or caretakers of animals or people in relationship to others with responsibility to them as the man to his wife. They don't see themselves as the beloved of God, as those who have a right to this magnificent banquet. But God said to them, "Come to me. I'm here waiting for you. Let me be God for you. And I will help you with what you think you know." Christmas is a celebration, a glorious celebration of God with us. Emmanuel, z nami Bog, as we heard in that hymn at the beginning. God is with us, and we don't have to wait till Christmas to sing it, because He is always with us. On Christmas, we can see Him. We can imagine Him crying in that manger. We can imagine Him greeting those shepherds. We can imagine Him receiving those gifts from the Magi. But God is with us now. Someone said to an expectant mother, "Well, I bet you can't wait for the baby to come." And the mother said, "Believe me, He is already here." Any mother knows that you don't wait till the birth of a baby to realize that baby's presence. The mother said, "I look forward to the day when the baby makes his or her appearance." We look forward to Christmas, where Christ's appearance is presented to us. But we don't wait for God to be with us. This pre-Christmas period is a period of celebration of God with us, even though we cannot see Him. Don't believe in anything you can't see. How false. How important it is for us to believe in a God who we cannot see. This time before Christmas is a period of encouragement for those of us who don't feel God. It's a time for us who perhaps have experienced pain, who have lost people who are dear to us. It's a time when we well may slip into a depression. It's a time when perhaps the more difficult things of life are accented. The struggles that we have. It is a time for us as Christians to feel God's presence ever so great. It should be a time to enjoy God's presence without the obvious. It must be a time of hope for the lonely, the depressed, indeed the hopeless. This is a time when we must reach out to God, respond to His invitation to come to the banquet. Come closer to me. You need me more than you think you do. I'm not depressed. Yes, I've lost someone in my life this year. Yes, my life has been turned upside down perhaps. Yes, this problem seems to be without hope. This is a time when God is calling us to allow Him to give us, to show us who we really are. And He tells us, come to me and I will help you. with those problems. It is a good time to approach God in the holy mystery of confession. It's a good way to be reminded of His presence in our lives. Remember the story. God sent out this invitation to a small group. But then He said, it is not because of anything special about you. It is because you are beloved. And then He continued the invitation to the poor and the cripple and the lame, those who would look upon themselves and say, I'm a nobody. I'm not worthy. And then He said, they're not enough here yet. Go out and force them to come in. And perhaps the way He forces people to come in is by telling them, you are worthy. It is not because of anything you have. Maybe what you have will be lost. Maybe the people you depend on will be lost. But you are still worthy. Use that struggle to realize my presence in your life. May we indeed let the decorations, the icon, even Santa Claus, remind us of God's presence. His eagerness for us to come to the banquet. Let's look beyond what we think we know. Let's look beyond the obligations of life and allow Him to welcome us, to tell us, and help us to know that He is with us in those obligations, in those struggles. When things get rough, remember that God is with us even if we don't see Him. He invites us to be with Him. He also indeed invites us to realize His presence in our lives by being Him for others, by sharing that experience of God with those others we meet who need Him in a special way. God is with us. Glory to Jesus Christ.
Glory to God.